Are you ready with the second VOD?
Yes, I am.
Alright, we are starting in three, two,
Well,
one.
your commercial's still running.
Yeah, that's alright. It'll finish.
Okay.
Alright, three, two, one, go. There's also a little bit of delay. It's actually really annoying, like, to time the commercials, because like the commercial will end before, like, when we see the commercial still going, it's actually already ended by the time they see what we're saying. If that makes any sense,
Oh, right.
because of the stream delay. Yeah, it's really
Yeah, we're on
confusing.
we're watching the stream, but we're on like a 5-second delay from
Yeah,
what we're saying.
exactly. So it actually works out. Anyways, set number 2. Looks like it's going to be a PvP here. SKT has sent out Best, and he will be facing Gujilla, aka Cal, from Air Force Ace, who recently, or I guess not so recently, but took a very huge win off of Stork in Con versus Ace. So definitely a Protoss to be feared.
Speaking of Protosses to be feared, Best has been so good this season. He's put together a lot of wins, seen a lot of playing time already. I remember that he had a particularly awesome game against Hydra, but he beat Jadong about a month and a half ago. He's been doing really, really well this season, and has Cal, like, I haven't seen Cal in a while. I think he's been in like basic training or something.
Cal's been playing pretty well this season, at least. That's what the
But I mean, before that, I didn't
reviews
see him
say.
since,
Before that,
like,
yeah, I
last
don't know. I mean, I haven't really followed Pro League very religiously until this season, so I'm not really sure. But yeah, as you say, I mean, Best, what is he, like 7-1 against Zerg or something, or 6-1 against Zerg this season? I don't even know. Something ridiculous.
That's
And
just a sick player. Like, his role is the third best player in his team, but he's challenging that. He's doing really, really well. Better than Fantasy, better than Bisu. At least
yeah,
that's what he's
I
hoping
mean,
for.
Beast is doing
And
horribly recently though, so
that makes it a little bit easier for Best.
yeah. Anyway, it looks like the map is going to be Ground Zero, and we will have Best spawning here as the yellow Protoss in the bottom right, and Cal will be spawning vertically as the teal Protoss in the top right.
Yeah.
So,
Cal throughout his... Oh, go ahead.
well, I was just going to say, these positions actually make it quite interesting for shuttle harassment, because obviously the naturals are facing each other, so hopefully we get to see some sick Reaver drops and Storm drops and whatnot.
I was gonna say I'm really confident in Cal's chances. He hasn't been in the Pro League, or he hasn't been in the Air Force rather, so long that he's like his skill has deteriorated, and he has a history of really high level Protoss versus Protoss against the best opponents. Like when he's played Stork and Zhang and Best and other great Protosses in the past, he's traditionally done really, really well against them. So even though he is the Air Force player, and we're going to expect him over the next several months or to a year, become kind of an average player. Right now, he's still really awesome.
By the way, on the screen they're actually showing that Best is currently the number 2 Protoss. I think that's what that means. He's like 7-3 so far. Who's 7-1?
Flash, or was that Protosses?
It said like Protoss top 3.
Okay.
I assume that means it's all Protosses, or maybe it means, I don't know. Whatever.
I don't. Oh, okay.
Yeah, now it's showing something different, but just now it was showing like Protoss top 3 or something. Anyways,
Someday we'll learn to speak Korean, but today is not that day.
today is not that day. I don't know, man. I'm a pretty quick learner. I think over the course of today's cast, I might just become fluent if I try hard enough.
So Cal opting for the early scout, whereas Best hasn't. Just trying to play as economically as possible. He does not have an anti-manor pylon, so we could be seeing a manor pylon right now. Looks like he blocked it with a probe just in time. And still, his second pylon's not an anti-manor pylon too. I guess he's not worried, but this map is actually really, really ripe for the manor pylons.
Yeah, you know, speaking of that, it's really funny to watch PvPs on Outlier, because, like, it seems every single game they always have one Zealot on hold position in that, like, good mana pylon spot. It's like, you don't see that on any other map. Like, even on this map, where it has the same mineral formation, the Protoss isn't quite as paranoid about that, but on Outlier, it's just like every single time, hold position Zealot there. I don't know, it confuses me a little bit. Like, you'd think the pro gamers have enough APM and whatnot to make sure that doesn't go down. Oh, by the way, thank you to the chat for pointing out that the 7-1 player is in fact Stats from KT, who is absolutely tearing it up in Pro League. Anyways, looks like Scouting Pro guys still running around here. Of course, probably not going to see anything interesting until those guys get chased away by Dragoons. Or I should just say it's Best Probe. Stats. Wait, I mean, or rather, did Cal's Probe die or something? I wasn't paying attention.
It looks like it's still running around there. Now microing against 2 Zealots, but they're kind of right next to each other, so it's not any harder than microing against 1. Cal's got a nice block on his ramp. No Probe is going to be able to get up that because there's no minerals to click on because he hasn't. Best hasn't.
I think give the players backwards. I think because Best is yellow and Cal is teal, right?
Wait, hold on. Did I just get confused? I'm really sorry.
I think you got it. Dude, hey, don't worry about it, man. Dude.
No, Cal's teal, Best is yellow. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, over the weekend, Jaedong versus Effort, I casted like the first 2/3 of the game backwards. It was so bad. Because like the positions on the map were reversed from what the positions in the overlay were. Oh god, it was so terrible. Anyways. Looks like we do have a robo for Cal. And I didn't see what Best was getting. Best is actually moving out on the map with his units right now. I can see from the minimap there's a lot of yellow dots running around. I think he's trying to aggressively deny scout. Oh, it's because he's taking a very early expansion here. Best doing a 1-gate expand here, a somewhat risky build, although a notable case where this was used was Free versus Bisu, where Free actually took the risk and it paid off and allowed him to defeat Bisu in a game 5. So Best is now using it against Cal, and as long as he can deny that scout for a while and make sure Cal doesn't see it, he could just get away with it. It seems like a bit of an open map to be doing this though. Anyway, I guess we'll see what Cal does. And oh, Cal is actually going for the 2-gate robo. So going to be very difficult for him to punish this build. This is actually the identical situation to Free versus Bisu. In this case, Best would be Free and Cal would be Bisu. Just going for the super safe 2-gate obs. And that is not going to be good for Cal whatsoever here. Meanwhile,
yeah, I feel like... Oh, he is following this up with a robotic support bay, so he's got his shuttle out already, maybe going to put Dragoons up on the high ground, but he's definitely going to be able to do Reaver harass later. This does have the annoying Lost Temple-esque high ground that it looks like this is what, I'm going to get this right this time, Cal is dropping onto. It's pretty solid to defend the 1-gate Nexus against the 2-gate robotics bay, or the 2-gate obs build, which is the most typical. The only problem with the such a fast expand is if your opponent goes for basically anything else, like 4-gate goon, any faster Reaver play, you're in big trouble. And it looks like we have a pretty decent attack out right now, and that shuttle's going to help him if he wants to pick up the injured Dragoons, which it looks like he is doing. I think he was down a Dragoon at the start of the battle, and he's still down that Dragoon, fighting up onto a high ground, which is going to get him that mischance advantage, but it looks like he's going to lose this battle decisively and have to flee with his 2 goons back home.
I gotta say, amazing use of the shuttle by Cal. That shuttle, okay, originally what he did, that shuttle floated down to the high ground above Best Natural as a scout. He actually used the shuttle to check if Best had taken the expansion, and then he pulled it back and decided to be aggressive with his units. Unfortunately, his timing was a little bit too slow. Best's 3 gateway follow-up had already kicked in, so he was down on the Dragoons. But then, as you saw, he was doing like the fancy boxer micro, picking up his Dragoons into the shuttle as the opposing Dragoons were shooting them, and then eventually just retreating with those last 2 Dragoons. I mean, he just took an empty shuttle and made it like super efficient, not just waiting around at his robotics for the Reaver to come out, but making active use of the shuttle until then. I think that was really, really nice. Day9 in his old podcast talked a lot about, smoothing out your builds, making sure everything has its purpose and is very, very efficient. I think that was just like a perfect example of that. Really, really impressed. Unfortunately, though, he's losing big time.
Yeah, it was really good shuttle micro, but I think the push out onto the middle of the map at all was ill-advised at that position. Now is a better time to be pushing out because he does have that Reaver for support. And Best, you saw he just had his Dragoons in a wrap around the back of his natural, but there's actually 2 Reavers coming up in the front. Everything's on hold position, and both Zealots going down, which is actually really going to help. And assuming that we see good oh my god, you commentate, I'm failing.
Oh wow, I mean, Cal is actually busting through here. You know, 30 seconds ago I said he was losing big time, but now it looks like he's just going to win the game outright. This actually looks like the Stork versus Bisu game, where it's like Stork is down in expansion, I'm like, okay, Stork is pretty much dead. And then he just goes in with the Reavers, has impeccable micro, and just busts the front. And this is exactly what Cal is doing. I mean, this just shows, this is like the caliber of pro gamer Reaver shuttle micro. It's just, if you don't have, you know, an overwhelming number of Dragoons and a huge Scarab shot into the middle of the probes, you can see it on Best's face. He knows he is so dead here. Man, I have just been underestimating pro gamer Reaver control time and time again. And GG from Cal, winning another huge PvP. Oh my god, taking out Best here in set number 2. I thought Air Force Ace was in trouble after losing set 1, but never mind. Cal showing us what's up. Oh, wow.
My favorite part of that game by far was the instant reaction of Best opening his mouth as all his probes died, like he felt the grief of each single one.
Yeah. Dude, man. Wait, what race are you?
I play Zerg.
Oh, see, you don't understand. Oh, you're a slimy little Zerg. See, as a Protoss player, I feel the pain. You know, each probe is like a precious child. Every time
Each
a probe
drone's a
dies,
precious
it's like,
child.
you know, your little baby died. And it's so sad.
I do agree that probes are the cutest of all workers, if that's what you're getting at.
Exactly. Yeah. Something like that. I don't even know.
So anyway, Cal tying it up 1-1, so